Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the Saving Made Simple channel. My name is Bella and today I'm going to be filming a step-by-step how-to video explaining and showing how I created my own personal budget from beginning to finish and how I set up my own personal budgeting system. So I'm going to do my very best to clearly outline steps into chapters for this video so that you can skip the info that you don't need just to easily get to the info you do need or want. But before I begin, I want to remind you that I'm not a financial advisor. I do not have any professional training in finance or accounting. I do not claim to believe that budgeting is a one-size-fits-all system. Different things work for different people. But most importantly, this is the way I do my budgets. This is the way I have adapted to fit my own life, and therefore I am teaching how I budget and not insinuating that my way is the only way. I've changed a couple things to try to include more people, but otherwise, as I said, I am showing you how I manage with the system that suits me the best. So I just need to make sure you guys knew that. I'm not gonna pretend to be something I'm not. I've been cash stuffing and budgeting for about 7 months now, and I'm noticing the biggest difference in my life that I can't even begin to explain. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so before you can get into the fun part of cash stuffing, you need to learn how to create your budget. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to track your expenses and spending. So how you're going to do that is you're going to go to your bank, or if you have a printer at home, you can bring your bank statements up at home, and you're going to print back 3 months worth of bank statements. So if you've got anxiety like I do, it's a very, very easy ask. You go to your bank teller and you say, I would like a bank statement from my Maximizer, my savings, whatever account, from whatever 3 months ago was. So for me, it would be April, May, June, July. Yeah, so I would go in and say, I would like my bank statements from April to today, if you wouldn't mind printing that off, and they will. It's something they're asked every single day. You don't have to stress about it. So the next thing you're gonna do is create a chart for your bills so you know exactly what comes out and when. So I've made this little, it's fake, completely, I literally made up the whole thing. So as you see, sample bank statement created by Saving Made Simple for Budgeting tutorial. So I'm going to show you how I would go through my bank statement and how I would make this into a budget. So like I said, the first thing you're gonna do is track your expenses and your spending. So I am going to, because I'm a bit of a nerd, I'm going to color coordinate these for different things. All right, so I'm gonna start, I started my budget here from May 3rd, so it's only 2 months back, but I figured you guys would kind of get the idea. So you can see what I'm gonna do is okay, so I've realized now through where the bank or where the pays are that the pay would be bi-weekly. So we're gonna keep that in mind. We're paid twice a month. So then you're gonna look at your big expenses. So the things that happen regularly, like monthly, for example. So for this one, monthly expenses would include rent, car insurance, home insurance, Disney Plus, like your subscriptions, water and sewage. So those seem to be the main for that half of the pay. So once again, we'll look up. So we've got Netflix, cable and internet, phone bill. You got your Audible, your Spotify, your rent again. All right, so we're gonna write down what our monthly expenses are and what their date is that they come out by looking at our thingy. So you can see that rent is obviously $800 and it's on the 1st of the month. Shouldn't put that over there. Then we've got phone bill, and in this example, it's generally about $90. I always round up. and that comes out on the end of the month-ish. So rent, home insurance, according to my example, is $212, so we're gonna round that up to $215. Car insurance, oops, and that was, home insurance was on the 9th. Car insurance is $245, and it's on the 10th. Then we got our Disney, and it is 14, which I would actually round up to 15, and it's on the 14th. Then we got Netflix. We'll say it's 15, and it's on the 14th as well. Water and such, say is $225. You always want to round up, because if you round down, you're going to be short. So we'll say that's on the 15th. Then back to Netflix, internet, we'll say is $125, and it's on the 24th. We got phone again, and we got, that's, I think, the biggest ones there, and I think that's actually all of them. Netflix, cable, phone, yep. Okay, so you got all those are our main expenses. So you want to look at what part of the month they're in. So I personally use this calendar here, and as you can see, I write down all of my expenses. So if my phone bill's out, I write down how much it is. If I'm getting money from something, I write that down. If I have another bill, like I always write down my bills, and I always write down the amount, just so that when I'm looking at what my pay period is, it's all, I know exactly what I'm gonna have to pay. So if my payday is here, this is a pay period. So from the 13th to the 27th would be a pay period, because it's right in between. So what would I have to pay with these? So like in this case, it would be like hockey, after school program, life insurance, stuff like that. So these are very helpful. But anyway, so you're going to look at when your pay periods are, and you're going to take note of when these bills come into play. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to add all of these up and then divide them by how many pays we get per month. So like I said, a calendar or planner, is it required? Absolutely not. Will it make week to week, pay to pay budgeting a lot easier? Absolutely. And you don't have to get an expensive one. You can get one from the dollar store, Walmart. You can even print one out of your library. It really doesn't have to be a big thing. So yeah, so you're going to go through and try to calculate an average of what you spend each month and what on. So once you go through, you're going to have a chart. So we'll say red is our bills. Then I'm going to go through and sort the rest out, and I will be right back, and we will continue this conversation. Okay, so what I've been doing here is I've been dividing my full monthly expenses by how many pays I have. So I get paid bi-weekly according to my budget, or my bank statement here. So what I've done is gone through and I've kind of picked the higher of the numbers for the months, and I've kind of just averaged it out to see generally how much in this sample we spend. So then how I got these numbers here is obviously I took this number here and I divided it by 2, because that's how many pays I have per month. So then, so I did 915 divided by 2, which gives me 457.50. So I would round that up to 460. So then if we look, so bi-weekly, we need 460, 35, and 865. So if you don't make enough to do your bi-weekly expenses, then you're gonna have to find, unfortunately, places to make cuts. So for example, if you are struggling with then maybe you can do without Disney, maybe you can do without Netflix, maybe you can find a cheaper provider for your internet, or maybe you could put a phone, internet, and hydro together in a package, maybe you can save money there. But like I said, maybe also you can do without one or two of your subscriptions. Or if you're better with your expenses, maybe you can find better deals, or that kind of thing. So there is ways to cut expenses or save money. You just kind of have to do the exploration if need be. So in this case, my person here needs to make $1,360 bi-weekly just to make literal ends meet. So we're going to assume that that is what this person makes, except for we can see right here that they don't really make that. They made that once. They only made that once. So, and then you also have to factor in any, okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, so now that we've done our bills and such, move this over. All right, so just to summarize, what we're going to do is we are going to track expenses. Now, you can do it with just a month worth of your bank statements, but it's probably better to do 3 months worth. That way you can kind of add it all together, divide it by, and figure out how much on average you spend on everything. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create a chart for your bills so you know exactly when they come out. So we're going to say track bills. That way you don't have any unexpected expenses come out without you knowing about it. Once again, is a calendar or planner required? No, but it's definitely helpful. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to go through and calculate an average of what you spend per month and what on. So okay, once you figure that out, you're going to divide this number by the number of pays per month. So if you get paid weekly, that's 4. If you get paid bi-weekly, that's 2. And if you get paid monthly, which I have seen that some people do, that's 1 pay. So that's what you would divide it by, is depending on what you get paid. So the amount that you have, or that you need to keep that in consideration while you create your budgets each payday. Now that we've explored our previous spending habits and know an idea of how much we typically can or do spend on each thing per pay period, let's discuss our goals so we can incorporate savings into our budgets. So some main things that people have for goals: we have an emergency fund. So it's very recommended by most financial advisors, reminder I'm not one, that we have $1,000, I think it's like $1,000 to $5,000 as a emergency fund. And this is in case you get a flat tire on your way to work, or in case something comes up that you didn't plan for. So yeah, flat tire, car trouble, maybe your roof got a leak, maybe your bathtub got a leak, maybe whatever the case may be, maybe you have a sudden vet emergency. So it's recommended to have a emergency fund so that you don't have to dip into the money that you need for bills in order to pay for these things. All right, another thing that is recommended is payments to debt and trying to get rid of and pay off debt. So when we say debt, we're not talking about car or housing loans. We're talking about stuff like credit cards. We're talking about personal loans, and yeah, credit cards, personal loans, stuff that has really high interest rates and you want to get it paid off in order to help your entire credit and stuff, so you can buy a house easier, you can live life a little easier. Another thing you should think about saving for is retirement. As we all know, it is the main goal. We work all our lives so that once we hit that age, we can retire and basically just bask in the rewards of working so hard all our lives. So you want to try to save up. You want to start putting into retirement as soon as you can. Don't think, oh, well, I'm only 15, I'm only 20. I have tons of time, because the sooner you start, the more you'll have at the end. So, saving for retirement is very important. And also, if you go through your job, talk to whoever employs you, and sometimes they'll match like 1 to 3 to 5% of what you put into your retirement savings. So that's always a good channel to try to follow up with. Okay, so now we're going to try for our auto and mortgage. Because whereas obviously those are fixed payments for however many months, however many years, the sooner you pay it off, the less the interest rates will be. And the more the interest rates are, the more you end up paying at the end, right? So if your house was $120,000 when you bought it, if you're paying $1,000 a month and you're getting whatever the interest rate, like by the end of it, you could be paying almost twice what the house is actually worth. So the sooner you pay that stuff off, the less that the companies make on you based on interest. And paying for it sooner is its own reward for years to come. And then the last thing that is recommended is investing. So this is a topic I won't cover too much on because I don't personally know a lot about investing. I personally have a tax-free savings account, and I have a RSP and an RESP. So I have a child, so I have an RESP that I've been putting money into since he was born. He is under 10, but he's got about $8,000 in there right now. So by the time that he is old enough to go to college, hopefully he won't have to work too hard just to get in and to pay off the time he needs. So investing, again, like you can look into stocks, you can look into tax-free savings, GICs, stuff like that. But again, I'm not going to cover too much on that just because I don't personally know much about it, and I'm not going to try to spread any false information. Okay, so one thing I personally really focus on is I call myself a zero-based budgeter. So what is zero-based? So the way that I look at it is that every dollar has a place and every place has a purpose. So every dollar is put into a category, and that category has a purpose. So for example, if I put $20 into my grocery fund, that $20 is meant for groceries. It's not typically meant to be taken out and go to the movies with. It's not typically meant to go buy a coffee with. It's for groceries. Same with if I put $40 aside for pet food or for my pets, then I'm not supposed to take that money and go and, again, buy movies or lottery tickets. That money is meant for what I need it for. And it's been put there strategically so that I cover all of the expenses that I need to cover. So zero-based, again, every dollar has a place and every place has a purpose. Okay, now that we've said that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now show you how you would make your budget. I'm not actually going to use the little thing I made. I'm just going to use random numbers. These are not real numbers. I will say that one more time, and I will show you kind of how to create a zero-based budget. So let's say we're just going to say your paycheck was $1,300. Okay, so your main expenses for this pay period, so for the first half of the month, let's say. So we've got rent, which we'll say is, let's say your rent is $800, so we put $400 aside each paycheck. That way we can pay for the whole thing at once. So we'll say rent is $400. Let's say we have children, and our babysitter is, let's say, $200. Right. So subscriptions. we will say we're going to pay for Netflix and Disney this round, so that's $30. So we're going to say $30 for subscriptions. Phone bill, let's say our phone bill is due this month, so we'll say that's $90. Car insurance. So our car insurance will be $200. And as you can see, so even if my pay was $1,304.22, I would leave this in the bank. I would round it down to the nearest 10 or 5 because, well, I'm personally not, I'm Canadian. We don't even have, we have loonies, but I don't like putting loonies in my envelopes. So I round my budget or my costs up to the nearest 5 or 10, and I round my my paychecks down to the nearest 5 or 10 as well. So let's just say that's what we've got for bills right now. So we're gonna say we've got 400, 200, 30, 90, 200. So our total is $920. And then we're gonna find out what we have left after we take that out of our pay. So that would leave us with $380. So this amount here, you would withdraw. So these expenses here, I would consider them all online. So like my rent, I would e-transfer. My childcare, I would probably e-transfer. My subs are automatically taken out of my account. My phone bill, I send. My car insurance, I send. So, or could even be automatic. So anything that can leave my bank account without me even touching it physically, those I would do first. Those are my online expenses. They have their own category. I don't take them out. I don't have to do anything with cash with them because I don't physically touch that money at all. Okay, so what we're going to do, this $380 here are going to be our fixed expenses. So these are the expenses you know are coming, you've been prepared for them, they're monthly, they're always kind of there. So then we're going to switch to our variable expenses. So our variable expenses are the ones that change depending on the situation. So, for example, groceries. So we have a kid, we know we have a kid in this situation. So let's say that you can afford, or you get paid bi-weekly. So you're going to budget enough for 2 weeks worth of groceries. So if you go grocery shopping once a week, you're going to double that essentially. So let's say, since we have 380, we'll say your grocery bill is, you do $50 a week. Now, that would be great if you could do that. But yes, your grocery is $100 bi-weekly. So you go shopping with $50 each week. Gas, let's say you have a very short commute, and again, $100 is good for you, and you can get to and from work with $100, $50 a week. Then we're going to say pets. You've got dogs. Let's say you've got dogs, and you buy a big dog food bag, let's say twice a month. So how much is your bag of dog food? Let's say it's $30. So you're gonna pay that once in each pay period. And then say you like to dine out a lot. So your dine out budget will be whatever you generally can spend. So if you liked your coffee, if you like to go to Subway, if you like to eat out, let's say you spend 50 for you and your child. Let's say you spend $30 a week. So you're gonna budget 60. And then we'll do entertainment / fun. And let's say that you like to do something fun every weekend. So you go bowling one week, you go, to the arcade with your child the next. So let's say bowling is $30 and the arcade is $20. So let's say we got $50, but so we'll say $50. You're fun, but yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so that's it. That's all we've got for expenses for this pay. So we're gonna add that. So you got 340, which leaves you with $40. Okay, so that there is all going to be put into savings. Once all of your expenses that you need, your necessities, are paid for or covered, you're going to be putting anything else into savings. So this can be many different things. It depends on kind of what your goals are. So if you are saving for a new car, if you are putting into an emergency fund, maybe you're saving for a vacation, or you're saving for a month, you're trying to get a month ahead, whatever the case may be. So let's say that in this case, we're going to put some money into our vet fund because we have a dog and we need to make sure that that dog is taken care of. And then let's say you're going to add to your emergency fund because you really want to hit that $1,000. So we could literally do anything. You could do 30 in vet, 10 in emergency. You can do 20 and 20. Let's do 20 and 20. So that would be your full 40. So what we did here is we took our paycheck and we made sure every dollar was accounted for in our budget. So as you can see, after that is done, you have $0 remaining. Therefore, you have budgeted to a zero base and you have nothing left except for the $4.22 that you've left in your bank account that can just kind of hang out there. And again, you can have all these different, like the different kinds of savings or sinking funds you can have. You can have tax-free savings accounts, vacation funds, you can invest, you can pay for loans and credits. Okay, so the only other thing we really need to do is our denominations. So you're dividing these, like I said, so these costs here have to last for 2 weeks. So I would typically do 250s for this. Same with the gas. Otherwise, you're going to be having to break bills, and you don't want to do that because you're going to overspend. So I would probably do a 20 and a 10 here. I would probably do 20, 20, 10, 10. That way you got your 60, 20, 40, 50, 60. And then again, I would probably just do a 50, or you could do 2 20s and a 10, depending on what you're doing. It might be easier just to take the 50, but my worry is that I would spend the entire 50 at once, especially if I was going to the arcade. So it kind of depends on what you want to do, but you also need to factor in these guys. So because they're going in envelopes too. So then we'll do 10s, 20s, and 50s, and how many of everything you need. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 20s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 7. And then 50s, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 40, 140, 200, and it should equal 380. So there's 2, 3, 40, 80. Okay, so now that we've got the denominations, this is what you would give to your teller. You would go to the bank and you would say, can I please get these denominations? And they would give you those denominations. And then when you get home, you can stuff. So let's talk about binders. So some people have multiple binders. Some have one for expenses, savings challenges. Some have different binders with challenges for different goals. Whatever you choose is completely up to you. I, however, only have 3. I only technically use 2 right now. I haven't set up the third one, but I typically have one for my my sinking funds, one for my variable expenses, and I am working on having one for savings challenges. Variable expenses. Variable expenses are expenses that change depending on the needs and requirements. Example, I would normally budget $150 bi-weekly for groceries, but I'll be traveling for a week, and therefore I'll be eating takeout more and grocery shopping less. So I'll add extra money to my dine out, which is usually somewhere between 50 and 70, and I'll add less to my grocery, which is usually 150. So depending on what's going on that week, maybe you're planning a family dinner. So obviously you're going to budget more for groceries because it's a family dinner and you need more food. So variable expenses typically include groceries, gas, pets, fun, personal, hygiene, children, dining out, medical, household, like maybe you need a new mop, I don't know, household expenses, you know, anything that is needed and necessary, but the cost changes. So that would be a variable expenses. Okay, sinking funds. This one here is my sinking funds. I personally have vacation, emergency, vet, gifts, car. So, sinking funds. Sinking funds are for saving toward a specific goal that you cannot afford to pay for all at once. So you're trying to be prepared for the unexpected expenses, such as vet visits, medical expenses, or even like a flat tire, oil changes, replacing your car, or even maybe you're trying to buy a home. So your sinking funds are anything you have to slowly save up for. That's just kind of how it works. Okay, so savings challenges. So I did say I do have a binder I'm going to be setting up for savings challenges, but I'll explain to you, I'll give you a couple. So like there's the $1, $5, $10, $20 challenges, and that is basically, it's got like a scoreboard. So every time if you're doing the $5 challenge, for example, every time you put a $5 bill into your envelope, you will color like one of your little icons. So another example of a challenge you could be doing is the 100 envelope challenge. So as you can see here, I've got a little scorecard, and every time I put a bill worth whatever the box says in, I color it in to say, hey, I did that. It's kind of like a scoreboard. So for every $5 bill, you'll color it. For every $10 bill, you'll color one. For every $20 bill, you'll color one. And it's kind of like at the end, once you've essentially filled out your scoreboard, you'll end up with a grand total, and you've basically just achieved something. So savings challenge, again, there's $1, $5, $10, 20. There's the Uno challenge, the dice challenge, Monopoly challenge. There are hundreds of printable challenges you can find on Etsy, Amazon. They're everywhere. And again, essentially, they're just basically games with scoreboards that make savings more fun. So there's many challenges on YouTube. If you're curious, give it a search and see what you come up with. So I think I've covered everything except for the cash stuffing part, which I'm not currently going to be doing. It's not currently my payday. But the fun part is definitely the cash stuffing. So once you've gone through and you figure out your denominations, which as you can see, we did that, then you get to stuff your envelopes. So, you know, just literally follow your budget. If you budgeted $50 for groceries, you put $50 in your grocery envelope. If gas, depending on what you budgeted for, that's what you're going to put in your envelope. And I'm sure you've seen hundreds of cash stuffing videos, so you don't need to see that today. But anyway, so that is my step-by-step how to create a budget. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it wasn't confusing. I did my very, very best to keep it plain and clear and simple. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. If there's any other videos you guys would like me to give a go, or if there's any other questions that I can maybe try to answer, let me know in the comments below. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.